Welcome to the FM 1382 Sidepath Project MCIP 40227 pre-project public meeting. We certainly want to welcome everybody who's had the interest to attend, and we look forward to a great discussion about the progress of this project. Next slide. A little housekeeping as we get started. We are presenting to the audience, and the audience is in listen-only mode, but we do want this to be as interactive as the platform will allow us. We will have the question and answer via the question and answer feature of Teams. So we would like you to ask to begin by number one, if you would provide us your name or email and then your question. And we will be collecting those throughout the presentation. We certainly want to be responsive, and we'll try to get to many of the questions as we possibly can during our event. If there are that are left unaddressed, we will certainly be reaching out to you afterwards. And this recording will be made available afterwards as well. We are recording the event to provide that opportunity. And we will have quite a few future virtual events coming up in the future. We hope to be blending them with live and in-person events as well, so keep your fingers crossed for that. Next slide. This is an example of the question and answer feature, and I'll ask if our technical experts on the line would like to provide any other information besides myself. But this is what the screen will look like when you ask the question. If you could type your name, it's an optional item, but it will allow us to reach out to you more effectively if we're not able to address your question during this session. So you'll notice on the top of the image, there is a click the icon to access question and answers, the ability to type your name and then type your question. Do look for the little arrow, paper airplane, I call it, on the lower right-hand side. That will actually send your message through the mechanisms to get to our attention. Next slide, please. We've got a robust agenda today. We want to certainly welcome all those who are team members and stakeholders in this event, as well as the folks who have potential interest in future activities with this project. We're going to have remarks from Commissioner Price and Commissioner Garcia, a statement from Alberta Blair, the Director of Public Works. We'll have staff present the basic update on the Sidepath project, along with our current design consultant. We'll have the opportunity for TxDOT, the DBE program, to be presented by Lasagna Allen of our Small Business Enterprise Office. We'll all have question and answers that, like I said, if you could keep those questions coming throughout, that would be great, and we'll try to get to as many as we can during those that particular item on the agenda. And then finally, we'll be bringing our meeting to an end and talking about a little bit about upcoming activities and how to keep in touch with the progress, and if you have any additional questions. So with that, let me go to the next slide and certainly introduce and thank the Commissioners Court for their overall support, and especially Commissioner Price and Commissioner Garcia. And with that, I'll go ahead and turn the floor over to Commissioner Price.
Thank you, Jack, and thank to my colleague, Dr. Garcia, Madam Director, and all of our stakeholders and participants who are on the call. We just want to take this opportunity to say this project it should move with dispatch, We look forward to all of the stakeholders pulling their weight, and whatever we have to do, TxDOT, if you're not on the call, we'll come and find you. So we just need to try to get this project. It's not as though we are short on projects. This is one of many. It's one that Dr. Garcia and I share, and we expect this project to be delivered on time for our citizens constituents. So with that, I will yield to Dr. Garcia. You're muted, Doctor. You're muted.
Thank you, Commissioner Price. Everybody on the queue, good afternoon, muy buenas tardes. This meeting is a meeting that will give all of us the information and a status update of where this project is at. FM 1382 Sidepath Trail project is an important project. And of course, when we all know the details, when we have an idea of the timeline and the process, and the most important part is to move forward with this project. So thank you, our Public Works Director, Ms. Alberta Blair, and her team. We will also discuss a small business enterprise participation for those small businesses interested in participating in the project. Dallas County is open for business, and our goal is to increase opportunity for small business and minority-owned business. So that last portion of this presentation, you will see how to become a certified SBE, and our director, Mr. Dan Garza, will guide you on how to participate in not only this one, but other Dallas County projects. As everybody knows, I'm a huge supporter of trail projects and the county trail program. And my colleague, Commissioner Price, and I are always very excited about this, right, Commissioner Price? Not only because trails bring better quality of life, but connects us to the environment and, of course, economic development and connectivity. And that's why this trail in particular is extremely important. It's a connector. It's a connector between Grand Prairie and Cedar Hill. I have the honor of representing Cedar Hill when I just got elected, and I am so happy to be able to participate with all of you in this project again with Commissioner Price. And even when it's only 1.2 miles long, it definitely has the impact on getting everything together. It's not a secret that the west side of Dallas County has the longest trail connectors at this point, and this is one of the $2.4 million that we were able to put together. And I want to give big kudos to Alberta Blair because she was able to get the $1.6 million in federal grant funding for this project. If it wasn't for her and her well-connected determination to secure this money, probably we wouldn't be where we are. In addition to the federal money, obviously, Dallas County is providing the rest with $806,000 in funding. And what can I say? And we were able to put $216,000 or so, Ms. Blair, on county bonds from the 1985 bond. Hey, believe it or not, we were able to find that money. And of course, Commissioner Price is putting $290,000, and I'm so happy to be able to provide $300,000 for this project. You know, I love you, Commissioner Price, when I put a little bit more than you, and it's mostly in District 3. But again, I am excited about this project. I want to thank everyone for joining us today. And with that, I think that we are ready to go ahead and turn the presentation to Mr. Tidwell and the Public Works Department. Thank you again. Muchísimas gracias por acompañarnos esta noche y su apoyo and your support for this project. Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you, Commissioners. We certainly appreciate it. With this, we'll turn it over to Director Alberta Blair.
And thank you, Commissioner Price, as well as Dr. Garcia. Thank you so very much for what you've done for this particular project. This is a major regional connectivity project, which is very important to the projects that we do select through the call for projects. So next slide. And as you are well aware, all of our projects really tie definitely into the county's vision. The whole point here is that we are definitely looking at being a healthy community, a regional player. And this project, as Dr. Garcia mentioned, we not only have the cities of Grand Prairie and Cedar Hill, but we also have the city of Dallas as well. We're tying, and this project is actually within the city of Dallas. So this is a major regional connectivity project here that ties all of these cities together and ties this area together. Also, safety is key here. We do have trails that are coming in from Cedar Hill. Of course, we're actually working with the city of Grand Prairie on a trail system on the Camp Wisdom project, and the city of Dallas is coming in as well. And this is a missing link that needs to be done. So we do thank TxDOT and others that have been a part of the process to make this project happen. And of course, Dallas County residents and businesses, and the connectivity is key and essential as we've seen through this time frame. Next slide. And again, for Public Works, our mission is to make sure we enhance the quality of life and do regional transportation projects and be a leading planner and to plan these projects effectively and work with all the different agencies and to add high value to Dallas County with the particular projects that we facilitate. Next slide. So what I'm going to do now, if there's no further comments from the commissioners, we're going to go ahead and turn it over to our consultant and to Micah Baker and his team that's been leading the way with the team. I know there's some other players from Public Works that are here. So with that, Micah, I'm turning it over to you to go through these particular slides.
All right, thank you, Alberta. Again, my name is Micah Baker. I'm the Senior Transportation Planner with Dallas County Public Works, and I'm also the Project Manager for the FM 1382 Sidepath from the county. As Alberta mentioned, we have Jacobs Engineering as our prime consultant on this project, and so we'll have some slides coming up where myself as well as Jacobs will provide project details about FM 1382 Sidepath. So on this first slide, the project again, FM 1382 Sidepath is located in the city of Dallas, and it goes from Mansfield Road to Camp Wisdom Road, which is a distance of about 1.25 miles. The project stakeholders or agencies who have been involved through the design of this project include Dallas County as the lead agency, TxDOT, who is a primary funding partner, as well as the owner of FM 1382 and the right-of-way where this trail will be located, the city of Dallas. We also have the city of Grand Prairie and Cedar Hill who have been involved throughout the project because of their proximity to this project, as well as some other projects that are going on in the area within those cities. And then we also have the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, because this project is located just to the northeast of Joe Pool Lake. The Corps is the adjacent property owner to this trail. Next slide. This is our design team. We have, again, Jacobs Engineering is the prime consultant. Our sub-consultants include Daltech Engineers, Urban Engineering Group, 2M Associate, and HVJ Associates. Next slide. So this is just a good map to show the project location. You can see the green line on this map is the FM 1382 Sidepath, which goes from Camp Wisdom Road at the north all the way to Mansfield Road at the south. Mansfield Road is the entrance to the Joe Pool Lake Overlook, as well as the Joe Pool Lake Dam. And so, again, that's a distance of about 1.25 miles. As you can see, this is entirely within the city of Dallas. But if you see on the map, there's a yellow line kind of on the south and west edges of the map. And those are the other nearby cities of Grand Prairie and Cedar Hill. And then I'll also point out the red line that's kind of meandering through this map is the commissioner boundary line. And so where it crosses our project is pretty close to the halfway point of the distance of this project. Next slide. So now we've zoomed out a little bit and you can see a little more of the project area. We've brought in some of the nearby projects and this will illustrate some of the kind of history and background of why we decided to do this project and specifically where it's located. So if you look on the south or at the bottom of this page, you'll see a gray line there, and that indicates the FM 1382 trail that is recently completed. So that trail is existing out there today by the city of Cedar Hill. And then just above that is the same green line that you saw on the previous map. That's the FM 1382 Sidepath, which goes all the way up to Camp Wisdom Road. And then if you look up at Camp Wisdom Road, you'll see a blue line that indicates the Camp Wisdom Road project that Dallas County is leading, that's currently in construction. And so that project goes in the cities of Grand Prairie and Dallas, and it goes all the way to the east limit of FM 1382. And then east of that project is another project that is coming into design now, which is Camp Wisdom Road. This is a City of Dallas bond project, which will include the intersection of FM 1382 and Camp Wisdom Road and go east to Mountain Creek Parkway. And so all those projects are coming together on this map. As you can see, the FM 1382 Sidepath was a missing link between the developing trail network in this area. I think I skipped over the fact that Camp Wisdom Road, which is being widened by Dallas County, will also include a trail on the south side. And so that trail on Camp Wisdom is where the north end of our FM 1382 Sidepath will connect. And so again, providing the full bike ped network connection in this area. All right, next slide. So now I'm going to take you through a few photos just to kind of give you a glimpse of the project, and then I'll turn it over to Jacobs to go into more detail. This is a photo of where the trail will be located. This is the southern limit of the project at Mansfield Road, looking to the north. So if you were to do a 180 from where this picture was taken, you would see the existing FM 1382 trail that the city of Cedar Hill built. One thing to note here is that if you look to the left on this image, you see a tree line, which is pretty close to the right-of-way line, and then the core property. And so the trail will be located close to that tree line to provide a safe distance from the vehicles that are using FM 1382, which is shown on the right side of this photo. Next slide. This next photo here gives a really good visual of almost the entire project length here. This is still looking north, and you can see in this image the kind of the rolling terrain, the hills that are out in this area. You can see kind of where the water's draining currently. And if you look, you can still see the tree line that's back there. That's close to the property line. If you look real closely, you'll see a few fence posts, and so those fence posts are on the core property there. And one request that we've had from our adjacent property owner is to not touch that fence and to maintain the posts where they're at now. And so while we do want to push the trail close to that location to provide safety, we won't be doing any construction on the core property itself. Next slide. And then this is the last image here that shows the north end of the project. So now we've turned around and we're looking south from Camp Wisdom Road. And so this is where the FM 1382 side path will connect to the Camp Wisdom Road trail. And so Camp Wisdom Road is going all the way to the intersection that you can see on the left of this photo. Our trail will connect into the Camp Wisdom Road trail fairly close to the middle of this picture. Next slide. So a few other general project details. Again, the paving and entire structure that's going to be built with this trail will be built in the existing TxDOT right-of-way. We do have a construction permit with the Army Corps of Engineers to provide the necessary slopes for drainage, but again, we will not be getting into past their fence line on this project. The proposed section details include a 12-foot wide concrete bike ped path. We'll have flex base subgrade. There is one prefabricated pedestrian bridge that's going to go over the existing culvert on this project. And then there will be some retaining walls throughout the project that our consultant will describe in further detail on some of the later slides. Next slide. So this is the last slide I'll cover here before I turn it over to Jacobs. Again, this just gives some photos that help locate the project. The photo on the top, if you look at the orange line, that's our trail on the west side of FM 1382 roadway. And so that's just kind of an aerial view of where the project's located, and you can see Joe Pool Lake in the background there. The bottom left photo is the southern limit, that's Mansfield Road. And if you look on the left of the photo, you'll see some cones, and that's basically where the Cedar Hills Trail project ends. And so we'll pick it up from there and continue north. And then the last photo on the bottom right there, that's the Camp Wisdom and FM 1382 intersection. And you can see some of the construction materials that are being placed out there for the Camp Wisdom Road project that's currently under construction. And now you can go to the next slide, and I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Carlos Negron, who's our consultant from Jacobs, to get in to dive a little deeper into the technical details of this project.
Thank you, Micah. First of all, I want to say thank you to Dallas County for allowing us to work on this vital project with you. It's been our pleasure to serve you and the residents of Dallas County. I want to start here. Again, Micah mentioned this is a 12-foot wide nominal trail. It is 6 inches thick typically, except when we get behind retaining walls or near the bridge that were mentioned before. We have a tie-in point, and we will have a walkway across Mansfield Road here to connect the Cedar Hill Trail into our trail, the Sidepath Trail, here at Mansfield Road. And we'll start the project here as far away from the high-speed roadway. So we have a 1382 southbound lanes, 2 lanes, which are greater than 45 miles an hour. So we made sure that the trail was as far away as we could get it, but not outside of the TxDOT right away. As we move further north, next slide, please, we get into the first set of retaining walls. So these blue lines that you can see on either side of the gray lines are the retaining walls. We have one on the high slope. We call it the high wall, or wall A, and that will retain the existing slopes that are coming from Joe Pool Lake. So we have a 4-foot maximum wall with a flume behind it that runs and drains to the northern culvert, which we'll get to in a second. And then we have a secondary wall, which is on the right side of the trail or east side of the trail. We call that wall B, or the low wall. And that is a typical TxDOT cast in place wall, excuse me. Now, both of these will have aesthetic treatments that will match the Cedar Hill trail. And the wall B, this lower wall, will have pedestrian railing to ensure safety, make sure that everyone is safe traveling either by foot or by bike along this particular trail. Next slide, please. As you can see here, there's a typical section that shows both the high wall on the left with the flume and the low wall on the right with the railing and a mow strip to allow for ease of maintenance. In this section, we have the 12-foot typical trail, and we're required to have 2 feet of clear zone on either side of the trail in case you need to step off the trail for a second in this area. This extra 2 feet gives you that opportunity. We don't want to make anything difficult for any of the folks who use this. And so this is a typical section through this portion of the trail. Next slide, please. As we get towards the bridge, and the bridge is shown here on the left as an orange rectangle, what we're doing is we're going to span over the existing culverts. There's 5 8x4 culverts that are shown in the picture in the upper right-hand corner. We will not modify any of the hydraulics or structure that's there. We would rather span over it with a 130-foot prefabricated steel truss bridge. Next slide, please. And you'll see some slides here that show what the bridge looks like, both in typical section with 4.5-foot railing on either side, your 12-foot width to allow the entire trail all the way through. Next slide, please. And then you'll see here's a top view of that bridge spanning over the existing culverts in plan. And next slide, please. Here is what it would look like when it's installed. We've taken a photo of the Southern Trail Bridge, which will look almost exactly the same. So it will have both horizontal members, diagonal members, and vertical members. And it will be of the same type of steel. We call this weathered steel to match the Southern Bridge, which will make it easier for the city of Dallas to maintain. We will have approaches shown on the left side with some hand railing, and we will have concrete and riprap underneath. Next slide, please. Here's a side view of this crossing. So you have the existing culverts underneath. That's a 5-cell 8x4. You have the 130-foot steel truss and the approaches with the pedestrian railing on either side. This bridge is at close to a 5% slope heading from south to north. So from left to right or south to north. And they will be on drill shaft abutments on either side. Next slide, please. As we get beyond the bridge to the north, it's basically a straight shot for a good long ways, paralleling the right-of-way, TxDOT right-of-way. So you see here, again, the red line is the center of the trail. The 2 gray lines are 6 feet either side, and the yellow lines on the left side are the TxDOT right-of-way. So we're hugging the right-of-way for the most part for the remainder of the trail until we get to the next slide, please. The northern terminus. Oh, here's a section of that view. So we have, again, the 12-foot trail, 2-foot clear zones on either side, and 3-to-1 maximum slopes with ditches on between the roadway and the trail. So we go to the next slide, please. Until we get to the northern terminus, where we will tie in with the Mansfield Road trail. I'll ask you to go to one more slide. And that will look like this. So we're creating a wide connection with the trail to allow, this is looking from left to right, south to north. This connection will allow us easier movement from eastbound Camp Wisdom Trail to southbound, and a little bit of easier stop and go connection as you go from northbound to eastbound and several other directions. But this is the type of Y connection that we're doing there. You can see that there's other drainage features that we're extending to allow for continued drainage in the area so that we don't get any flooding on the trail. Next slide, please. And then we have another view of that connection as you see it from the Camp Wisdom side here. So there's a trail connection. That northern Y connection would happen here at this red circle. And then, so this is looking east to west, left to right on the screen. And we would make that Y connection, and there would be easy movement both east and west, moving north and south on the Sidepath trail. And so that, I will turn it back over to Micah to go on with the remaining slides.
Thank you, Carlos. So we've got a couple slides here about the project cost and funding, just to give a broad overview. So the paving and drainage construction cost is $1.88 million. And then in addition to that, the design, project delivery, and admin cost, much of which has already been incurred, was $555,000. And so the total project cost coming to $2,435,000. Next slide. Again, we touched on some of the funding sources early in the presentation. This is a federally funded TA set aside project. We submitted an application to TxDOT in 2017 and were awarded $1.6 million in federal funds. We have a local participation on this project of $806,000, and again that brings us to our total project funding of $2,435,000. And Carlos mentioned this earlier. I just want to add that this project will be maintained by the City of Dallas once it is constructed. Next slide. And so here is a glimpse of the schedule. You'll see the items in blue have already occurred, and the items in red are upcoming. So Dallas County executed our project-specific agreement with the City of Dallas in May of 2019. Then we executed our design contract with Jacobs in August 2019. We had a kickoff meeting with TxDOT for this project in September 2019, and then initiated, the design for the project. We received environmental clearance in October 2020, and then recently submitted our final 100% plan set to TxDOT in early May. And so today we're having the pre-project public meeting. One of the next milestones is to receive the state letter of authority that authorizes us to go out to bid for the project, and we the remaining parts of the schedule will depend on the date that we receive that. TxDOT has told us that they're working diligently to get us that state letter of authority. Once we receive that, we will be able to move to the invitation for bidding, which is anticipated in June timeframe. Then we can open bids in July timeframe and start construction in the fall of this year. And we would anticipate that construction would be complete in sometime in 2022. So about 1 year for the construction of this project. Next slide.
Micah, thank you very much for the overview and project update. A lot of information there. I will just remind all those attending, if you do have question and answers, please take advantage of the opportunity to share those with us via the question and answer feature you see on the screen. And we'll be coming up to respond to those in just a few moments. In the meantime, I'm happy to introduce LaSonia Allen from our Small Business Enterprise Office to provide a little bit of insight into their work. Lasagna?
Good afternoon, everyone. I am the Outreach Officer for the Office of Small Business Enterprise. Today, I want to talk to you about the DBE requirements for this project. For those of you who have done business with Dallas County over the past few years, we have an SBE only program. But there are instances where we've received state and federal funds. So we're working with the Public Works Department because they do have a DBE participation through the requirements from TxDOT. And those are the things that I want to speak to you about today on how to be eligible as a DBE firm, and also talk a little bit about the goal requirements. Next slide. So in order to be recognized as a DBE firm, the firm must be certified through the Texas Unified Certification Program. Usually there are 3 certification agencies that we accept certifications from, but for this particular project, there are 6 partners that make up the Texas Unified Certification Program, better known as TUCP. That is the North Central Texas Regional Certification Agency. This is one of our approved certifying agencies here in North Texas. TxDOT, of course, City of Austin, the South Central Texas Regional Certification Agency, which is located in San Antonio, Texas, City of Houston, and the Corpus Christi Regional Transportation Authority. In order to be eligible to be a SBE firm, 1, you must be a U.S. citizen. It must be a for-profit business, and the firm's majority owner personal net worth must not exceed $1.32 million, excluding their primary residence. The majority owner must be at least 51% owned and controlled by 1 or more socially and economically disadvantaged individuals. Those individuals are Black, Hispanic, Native American, Asian Pacific, and women. Next slide. TxDOT does actually provided the goal for this project. The firms that are awarded this contract are required to meet or exceed the 9% DBE goal. Once we have the pre-bid, in the solicitation, you must complete the DBE commitment agreement form. In this form is really acknowledging the services that's going to be provided by the DBE subcontractor. The prime and the DBE subcontractor must sign off on this form with the anticipated services, the dollar amounts, and their signature agreeing to the stipulations within this form. And also the firms that are certified through the TUCP program. Although our office usually provide a list of certified vendors to help you reach your goal attainment, there is a directory of all of those firms that's included, and we'll be more than happy to provide this information to you. We are going to share this presentation so you can start identifying different DBE subcontractors that you can utilize for this project. Next slide. TxDOT also requires us to track the utilization with all of our subcontractors, especially DBE firms. Their system is called Compliance Tracking System, better known as B2G. We have a diversity contract reporting system, but it's the same system. So if you are selected for this particular project, it is mandatory that you add all of your subcontractors into the system, whether they're DBE or not. All subcontractors must be added into the system as the prime contractor. TxDOT has a prompt payment system. So not only do you have to add the subcontractors into the system, each month you would have to enter the payments into the system. 15 days after you receive payment, you must pay your subcontractors Please keep in mind that the subcontractors will receive a notice saying that the prime contractor have paid you X amount of dollars. They have two actions to make: either to accept the payment that they said was received, or they can dispute, stating that they did not receive that amount. So if the subcontractor states that the amount is incorrect, then you would have to show us proof of payment in order for us to correct that or resolve the discrepancy. Next slide. So as I mentioned earlier, all of this information will be included on our website, the presentation, the recording. Please do not hesitate to reach out to our office in order for us to address any questions. If you have any additional question, please input that information into the system, and I'll be more than happy to address it during this live event. So with that said, I turn it over to Jack. Thank you.
Thank you, LaSonia. As we go to the next slide, I just want to again encourage folks to submit their questions via our process. We're about to go to taking as many as we can. Joel Wassinger from our Public Works staff is going to be helping with that. In the meantime, I do want to thank all the departments and all the partners being present, the county partner departments especially. SBE and the purchasing department have representation here if questions come up. So with that, Joel, how did we do on the question front?
So we have 4 questions, and I'll be asking those, and Micah will coordinate the responses for us. The first question is, where can I locate the bid documents?
Thanks, Joel. Yeah, so it looks like Michael Frosch, you've answered that in the chat. Do you want to speak to that?
Sure. Thank you very much. Mike Frosch, Director of Procurement for Dallas County. Let me turn on my camera here. So yeah, we'll use you can look at our website, dallascounty.org, under the departments and purchasing. So you can go there and you can register with our electronic platform that runs through all that for you there. So I encourage you to register not only for this project, for any upcoming projects with Dallas County, because as Dr. Garcia and Commissioner Price says, we're open for business. We want participation, and that's why we're having these pre-solicitation meetings. So yes, we have all the information on our purchasing website, and we have information on all upcoming bids, whether it's construction, A&E, goods or services.
All right, and we've published that link in the Q&A as well publicly, so you should be able to just follow the link from the Q&A section of the event. The second question is, will Texas HUB be recognized for minority certification?
All right, thanks, Joel. I'll go ahead and share that question with LaSonia.
The company, in order for us to reach our goal attainment, the company must be DBE certified through the Texas Unified Certification Program. Although we do encourage, small minority women, hub participation, but in order to meet the goal of 9%, they must come from one of those 6 agencies that I mentioned earlier.
Okay, and the third question, how long is the prefabricated bridge? And Carlos has answered. Anyway, Mike, I'll just turn that to you. How long is the prefabricated bridge?
Sure, and I see Carlos's response here, and we're our speakers are responding to you as you're sending in these questions. But this one is the prefabricated bridge is 130 feet. Carlos, do you have anything to add?
No, that's pretty accurate.
All right.
And oh, sorry, Mike, go ahead.
I'll turn it back to you, Joel.
All right, and you know, some of these questions were answered privately, so we're just sharing them with the entire group. Question number 4: will this meeting's presentation be shared? And Lasagna has already mentioned that, but I'll turn it over to you, Mike, if you have anything to add, or Lasagna, if you have anything to add to that.
Yes.
Go ahead, Lasagna.
Okay. We do have a list of all of the attendees from today. So soon after this presentation, no later than tomorrow, you will receive the recording and the actual presentation. And for future use, we will also post it to the SBE website.
I do want to jump in here just a second, and I did hear the question, and I heard Ms. Allen and her response. Because TxDOT is involved, and I understand the HUB program, are we sure that there is no concerns with regards to HUB, since TxDOT is an integral part of this? I just want to make sure. And whoever asked the question, I don't know who posed the question. I just want to make sure we follow up, because I understand that that is a program with regards to TxDOT.
Yes, because this is a federally funded program, we do have DBE requirements. So we do encourage, small HUB, minority women-owned businesses to participate. But we do have a 9% DBE goal. In order to attain that goal, then they must be DBE certified through one of those partners of the TUCP.
Okay.
Joel, were there any other questions?
We do have some additional questions.
Okay.
Are there Gabions under the bridge?
I'll turn that one to Jacobs. Carlos, can you speak to that?
Sure. There actually is no gabions. There is a 12-inch stone riprap that will be, 12-inch stone to a thickness of 18 inches underneath the bridge, and that will typically we keep that for maintenance reasons, specifically under bridges where grass is difficult to grow under shade. So that is what we plan to have there.
All right. Another question: is there any fabricated fencing along the projects?
There is not any fabricated fencing along the project. The only fence that was mentioned is the existing Corps of Engineers barbed wire fence on their property, and so we will that will remain. And our project again will not have any vertical barriers other than the retaining walls between it and the FM 1382 roadway.
All right, and will all major contractors also be listed on the portal? I assume that means the DBE portal.
Yes, I can add a link to our website, and I can also include the link from the presentation and the information that I will be sending out the attendees by tomorrow.
Okay, we have an additional question. Is there a source already identified for the bridge fabrication?
Carlos, can you respond to that?
I can, thank you. So there is not a source identified. There are a couple of, because this is a federally funded project, okay, and I do believe Dallas County abides by the Buy America. So we do know it will be a bridge sourced through the Buy America clause, number one. So it will have to be sourced here in the US. Number two, there isn't a specific fabricator that is identified. The contractor can choose whomever they want as long as shop drawings are approved for use and it meets all of the Dallas County Buy America federal requirements.
Joel, if I may, I'm sorry, this is Lasagna Allen. I actually misspoke. I just read the question in the control panel and it asked about major contractors. I was really referring to the DBE contractors, but I can also send you the attendee list from the presentation, from the attendee list, and I'll indicate whether they're large or a small company, and that way that you can partner, prior to the pre-conference meeting.
Sounds good. Jack, it appears that those are the questions that we've received to this point.
Well, thank you very much, Joel, and thank you to all those asking the questions and all the responders. I do want to take the opportunity to indicate that in addition to the commissioners, I want to recognize a TxDOT representative online and ask him if he has any comments he would like to make. Maher Ghanem.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you to the county for taking the lead on this path. You guys did it, so congratulations. Of course, we are in the last steps right now to get it approved. We are waiting for the letter of authority from the feds so they can obligate the construction money for the project. And once we get that letter, then the state can issue the state letter of authority for the county to go ahead and advertise the project. And of course, advertisement is for 21 days. Everything said about the DBE program is correct. It's actually for any federal money, the state is mandated, or actually the federal does not recognize any other program except the DBE program that the state runs. And that's why this project has to comply with the DBE program. Other than that, thank you very much for completing the project. Thanks to the county and thanks to the 3 cities that's actually involved. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Maher. I certainly appreciate you being here and your comments. Next slide, please. With that, I will ask the commissioners online if they have any closing remarks they'd like to make. Commissioner Price?
Just thank you.
Very good. Commissioner Garcia?
Thank you to all our partners. Thank you to everybody that is joining us today. We look forward to completing this project, pretty soon. So I was happy to see the timeline and I'm happy with the input and the participation. Thank you to the Public Works Department, Purchasing, and SBE, and all our partners. Thank you.
Thank you, commissioners. Next slide. Well, certainly staff, Department of Public Works wants to thank everybody involved. A lot of people worked with a lot of effort to make this happen. So thanks to all. If you have any questions, these are 3 points of contact that might be helpful. I have provided my telephone number and email address if you need anything from the Department of Public Works. We have the number for the Small Business Enterprise Office and their email address as well, and a contact for the Purchasing Procurement Department. With that, I would like to again thank everybody for their participation and attention and wish you all a very nice evening. Good night.
Good job, Mr. Tidwell.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.